I didn't believe in omens. I believed in paperwork. I believed in medication schedules. I believed in routine. That was before I started working at Briar Hollow Elderly Care Home. It sat miles outside the nearest town, surrounded by dead trees that looked permanently winter-stricken even in summer. No neighbors, no traffic, just wind, and the smell of antiseptic. And the cat. They introduced him on my first day. His name is Marmalade, the head nurse said. He wasn't orange. He was black, completely black, not even a white patch. His fur absorbed light. His eyes were the only color on him as strange, pale yellow that didn't blink often enough. He's a therapy cat, she explained. He comforts residents when they are near the end. Near the end. That phrase stuck, because the residents here didn't just die. They waited. On my second night shift, I found Marmalade sitting on Mrs. Klein's bed. She had advanced dementia, barely spoke, but she was lucid that night, terrified. He's not here to comfort me, she whispered. Her hand trembled as she pointed. He's counting. Counting what? Before I could ask, her heart monitor flatlined. Just like that, Marmalade didn't flinch. He didn't move when the alarm went off. He just stared at me, and I swear, he blinked slower than any cat I've ever seen. They said it was coincidence. She was 93, the nurse shrugged. But here's what they didn't tell me. Marmalade only sits with one resident at a time. And that resident dies before sunrise. Every time. Hash, hash, hash the scratching. The third death was Mr. Alvarez. Strong man. Still walked daily. No major complications. At 11:47 p.m., I saw Marmalade slip into his room. I tried to remove him. The door wouldn't open. It wasn't locked. It just wouldn't open. From inside the room, scratching, not at the door, at the walls. Mr. Alvarez screaming. Then something wet hitting the floor. When we finally forced the door open, he was on the ground, his throat torn open. The medical examiner ruled it a fall. A fall. From standing. That tore his throat out. Marmalade was sitting on the windowsill, licking his paw. There was blood in his fur. After the fourth death, I stopped sleeping because I started hearing him. Not meowing, whispering, soft, almost like breath inside the vents. I began checking rooms every 30 minutes. Residents who were stable would suddenly deteriorate when he appeared. One woman grabbed my wrist so hard she broke skin. He sits on your chest, she gasped. When you sleep, I laughed. I told her she was confused. But that night, I woke up unable to breathe. Something heavy pressing down on me. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. And two yellow eyes hovered inches from my face. I don't remember passing out, but I woke up on the floor, with scratches down my chest. 4 of them, parallel, deep. Staff started quitting, one by one. They said it was burnout, but I overheard one whisper in the parking lot. It's not predicting death, it's choosing. After that, the phone lines began cutting out randomly at night. Security cameras glitched whenever Marmalade passed through hallways. Residents began refusing to sleep alone. One tried to gouge her own eyes out. She kept screaming, I don't want to see what he really is. It happened during a thunderstorm. Power flickered. Emergency lights activated. I saw Marmalade in the corridor, but he wasn't walking. He was elongated, his body stretching too far between shadows. His tail split for just a second. 2 tails, then 3. His spine arched unnaturally high, and for one flicker of lightning, he had too many eyes, stacked vertically. Then the light stabilized. He was normal again, sitting, watching me. I found old incident reports, dating back 20 years. Different therapy animals listed. Dogs, another cat, all replaced after unusual mortality clusters. But the photos, every decade, same cat, same yellow eyes. The name changes, but the cat doesn't. Mrs. Halloway was next. She begged me to lock her door. I did. I checked twice. At 2:13 a.m., the power went out again. Backup generator kicked in. Her door was open. She was sitting upright in bed, smiling. Her mouth stretched too wide, too far, skin tearing at the corners. blood dripping down her chin. Her voice wasn't hers. It was almost finished counting. Her jaw snapped sideways, not dislocated, shifted, like bone was soft clay. Then she collapsed. Marmalade crawled out from beneath her hospital bed. Slowly, his mouth was red. By the end of my first month at Briar Hollow, 9 residents were dead, every one of them visited by Marmalade first. And now, he doesn't sit with the dying anymore. He sits outside my room, every night, outside my door, scratching, slow, measured, like he's counting down. And I think I'm next. I stopped correcting people when they said I looked tired, because tired wasn't the word. I was thinning. That's the only way I can describe it. Like something was peeling pieces off me from the inside. Marmalade no longer waited for residents to decline naturally. He accelerated them. Mr. Grayson was stable that morning, laughing, eating pudding, complaining about the weather. By midnight, he was vomiting blood. Thick, dark, almost black. Doctors blamed an undiagnosed ulcer. But ulcers don't carve symbols into the inside of someone's throat. I saw them during suction. Tiny, curved marks along the soft tissue, like claw scratches. From the inside, Marmalade was sitting on the full machine, watching. The attic above the hospice wing was never used. Too old, too unstable. But every night around 3 a.m., something ran across it. Not light, heavy, dragging, something with weight. The sound wasn't pause. It was more like fingers, pulling, scraping wood. One night I followed the sound upstairs. The ladder to the attic hatch was missing. It had never been installed, but the hatch was open, and something wet dripped from the darkness. Thick, black, landing beside my shoe. I looked up, and 2 yellow eyes blinked, far too high to belong to a cat. The resident began deteriorating in a new way. They weren't just dying. They were afraid, terrified in a way that felt ancient. Mrs. Dalloway clutched my uniform so hard she tore the fabric. "It climbs inside your mouth," she whispered. "It sits behind your teeth." I tried to calm her. She bit down on her own tongue mid-sentence. Hard, blood filled her mouth, but she kept speaking through it. "He says you taste different." Then she died choking. Marmalade was licking the blood off her pillow, slowly, like he was savoring it. The first time he spoke clearly. It wasn't through a resident. It was through the intercom. At 2:58 a.m. Static, then a low vibration, then a voice layered over itself. Multiple tones. Deep, high, wet. Stop counting. The speakers popped. The lights burst in 3 rooms. I ran to the control panel. No input had been made. No announcement was scheduled. But in the audio logs, there was a file, labeled Nurse Daniel expiration. I didn't open it. I couldn't. By the end of that week, only 4 of us remained on night rotation. Then 3. Then 2. Rita disappeared mid-shift. Her keys were found in the laundry room. Her shoes near the basement stairs. Blood on the railing. But no body. No drag marks. Just scratch patterns. Up the wall, leading to the ceiling vent. Too small for a person. Too large for a cat. I locked my room. Shoved the dresser against the door. Covered the vent with duct tape. Placed a chair under the handle. At 3:07 a.m., the scratching started. Not on the door. On the inside of my walls. Moving. Circling. The sound stopped above my bed. The mattress dipped. Slowly. Like something heavy had climbed on top of it. But I saw nothing. Then the weight pressed against my chest. Crushing. I couldn't breathe. I felt claws pierce my ribs. Actual penetration. Hot. Wet. Pain that made my vision spark white. And a whisper directly into my ear. "You are not dying." A pause. "You are ripening." The weight lifted. I gasped. My shirt was soaked in blood. 4 puncture wounds beneath my collarbone. But shallow. Deliberate. Measured. Not meant to kill. I began questioning everything. Were the wounds self-inflicted? Was I hallucinating? Sleep paralysis? Collective hysteria? But the cameras confirmed something. On playback, at 3:07 a.m., my body lifted 2 inches off the bed. By itself. Then dropped. No visible source, just air compressing around me. And in the corner of the frame, two glowing shapes, floating. Another storm rolled in. Thunder shook the building. Power failed again. Emergency lights flickered red. In that red glow, I saw him in the hallway. But he wasn't small anymore. He filled the corridor, spine elongated, legs too many, his body bending at impossible angles, his head splitting open vertically, rows of teeth inside, not cat teeth, human teeth, lead, rotating slightly as if chewing something unseen, and his voice no longer lead. Clear, calm, you understand now. I ran. He didn't chase. Because predators don't chase what is already trapped. I finally opened the locked archive cabinet. Old building plans. The foundation predated the care home. This used to be a monastery, closed after mass spiritual hysteria. Dozens of monks dead within weeks. Autopsies listed cause as malnutrition. But their rib cages were found opened. From inside, the monks had kept something here. Contained. Fed. And when the monastery shut down, the land was sold, rebranded, repurposed as a place where people come to die. Perfect feeding ground. Lonely, fragile, waiting. It doesn't predict death. It cultivates it. It sits with the dying because they are easy, but it feeds on something else. Anticipation. Fear. The moment someone understands what it is, that's when it grows. And it has started avoiding the residents. It watches me instead. Because I see it, because I know, and knowledge flavors the meat. Tonight, there are no residents marked critical, no one near the end. Yet Marmalade sits outside my room, tail wrapped around his paws, eyes fixed on my door, not blinking, not moving, waiting. I check the staff roster. There are only two names left, mine and his. Under therapy animal, it says, status, permanent. The scratching has started again, but not outside, inside my chest, under my skin. Something is moving there, slow, measured, counting. I stopped checking mirrors, not because I was afraid of what I'd see behind me, but because I was afraid of what would be missing. The sensation started subtle, like muscle twitches, nerves misfiring from exhaustion. Then it became directional, something crawling under my ribs. Slow, purposeful, not random. It moved when Marmalade entered the room. It stilled when he stared at me, as if waiting for instruction. I pressed my fingers into my chest one night and felt it push back from inside for distinct points, like knuckles, testing the barrier. Her name was Eleanor Pike, 91, blind in one eye, sharp in the other. Marmalade sat with her 3 nights in a row. She didn't die. On the 4th night, she asked to see me alone. When I entered, the room was freezing. Condensation hung in the air like breath. "He's older than this place," she said. Her good eye tracked something behind me. He wore other shapes before the cat. My pulse hammered. "What shapes?" She smiled. Things that I invited inside. Thunder cracked. The overhead light burst. In the dark, she grabbed my wrist. Her grip was impossibly strong. "He doesn't eat the dying." Her voice dropped into a tone that wasn't hers. "He eats the one who understands." Her head snapped sideways, neck twisting until vertebrae popped audibly. Her jaw split open from chin to ear. Something black poured out of her mouth. Not liquid. Movement. A swarm of small, writhing shadows that scattered under the bed. When the lights flickered back, she was dead, face peaceful, no visible injury. Marmalade sat on her chest, larger than before. The dragging above the ceiling stopped that night. Instead, there was silence, the kind that presses on your eardrums. At 3:12 a.m., the attic hatch fell open on its own. The ladder, which never existed, slid down slowly, wood splintering as if pushed from above. I don't know why I climbed it. Maybe because fear had already taken everything else. The attic was wrong, too large. It stretched far beyond the footprint of the building. Dark beams arching overhead like ribs, and hanging from them, shapes, human, suspended, thin, hollowed, skin intact but emptied, like husks, dozens, maybe hundreds, their mouths open, and inside each mouth, scratch marks along the inner throat. I stepped backward. My heel hit something soft. I looked down. Rita, or what was left of her. Her torso split cleanly down the center. Ribs peeled outward. Organs missing. Inside her chest cavity, claw marks. From within, something had pushed its way out. I felt him before I saw him. Air thickening, pressure increasing. Then the shadows detached from the beams. They converged, folding inward, compressing, shrinking, until he stood before me. Marmalade, but wrong. His fur hung loose, as if draped over a frame too large. Beneath it, something shifted. His head tilted, and then it peeled. Not split, peeled, like fabric pulled back. Under the fur was not flesh. It was laid mouths. Dozens of small, human mouths opening and closing silently, whispering without sound. His voice came from everywhere at once. You climbed. I couldn't breathe. You are ripening beautifully. His body stretched taller, spine cracking as vertebrae extended, limbs multiplying briefly before retracting again into the cat shape. You feel me inside you. It wasn't a question. My chest spasmed. Something pushed hard against my sternum. Pain shot through my ribs. I collapsed, and he stepped closer. You are not food. A pause. You are a vessel. When I woke, I was in my room. On the floor, morning light through the window. No wounds. No blood. No attic ladder. Security footage showed me never leaving my room. But my fingernails were splintered, packed with attic dust, and under my skin, movement, more frequent now, faster. Those who remained stopped speaking normally. They stared at me too long, smiled without warmth. One by one they began drawing the same symbol. On walls, on their arms, on my door. 4 vertical lines, 1 horizontal through them. Counting. They weren't afraid anymore. They looked expectant, as if waiting for a ceremony. Mr. Talbot collapsed in the hallway, convulsing violently, blood leaking from his ears. I knelt beside him. His abdomen swelled rapidly, skin stretching tight, something inside him pressing outward. He looked at me, terrified. It's not me, he whispered. Then his stomach split open, not explosively, slowly, skin tearing along a perfect vertical seam, ribs bending outward like doors. From inside, not organs, not bone, claw tips. 4 of them. They pressed against the opening, then withdrew. His body deflated, empty, like air leaving a balloon. He died instantly. Marmalade walked through the blood, unbothered. He looked at me, and I felt something inside my chest respond, like a key turning. He isn't inside the residence. He uses them as rehearsal. He practices emergence, perfects emotion, the tear, the timing, and I am the finished version. Tonight the scratching is not in the walls. It is under my skin, traveling upward, from ribs, to throat, to jaw. When I open my mouth, I taste iron, and something moves behind my teeth. Pressing, testing, I went to the mirror, against my better judgment. And when I opened my mouth wide, I saw scratch marks, along the inside of my throat, curved, measured. From within, Marmalade is no longer outside my door. He is sitting on my bed, watching, waiting, patient, because ripening takes time, and I am almost ready. I stopped dreaming, because something else started using that space. I lost 3 hours. No memory, no sense of time passing. I came back to myself standing in the east hallway, barefoot, cold tile beneath my feet. My uniform soaked through, not with blood, with something darker, thicker. It clung. The hallway walls were covered in tally marks, 4 vertical, 1 across, hundreds of them. Every resident room door open, every bed empty, no bodies, no staff, just silence, and Marmalade sitting at the end of the corridor, his tail slowly swaying. The cameras were still recording. I watched the playback. At 2:11 a.m., I left my room. My movements were stiff, mechanical, my head tilted too far to the right. At 2:14 a.m., I entered Mrs. Calder's room. She began screaming. I didn't touch her. I just stood at the foot of her bed. Then, she opened her mouth. Wider than bone allows. Her jaw unhinged completely, and something pushed out of her throat. Not claws this time. A small, black shape. It dropped to the floor. It had fur. It had yellow eyes. A kitten. It looked up at me, and I smiled. The footage glitched. When it resumed, Mrs. Calder was hollow, collapsed inward, and the kitten walked into the hallway, toward Marmalade, who licked its head once, and absorbed it. Not swallowed, absorbed. Its body dissolved into his fur. I don't remember going into Mr. Talbot's old room, but the intercom recorded something at 3:02 a.m. My voice, but led. Preparation complete. The audio spiked, then in a deeper tone. The vessel is strong. I don't remember speaking, but my throat hurt when I woke. Raw, like I had screamed for hours. I examined my chest in the mirror. The skin between my ribs pulses now, subtly, like something breathing inside me. When I press down, the shape presses back, not randomly, deliberately, for distinct points, symmetrical, waiting for alignment. I think I understand now. The residents were incubators, temporary hosts, practice shells. Each time something tried to form, it failed. Too weak, too fragile, too old. But me, I am younger, stronger, aware. Understanding feeds it. Fear seasons it. Isolation nourishes it. And this place was never a care home. It was a hatchery. There was a locked door beneath the old boiler room, hidden behind shelving. I found it during another blackout. My hands were already bleeding when I came back to myself. Knuckles raw. The door stood open. Inside, stone walls, older than the monastery, older than the foundation. Carvings along every surface. Not religious, not protective, instructional. Illustrations of something small entering a body, growing, splitting the rib cage open from within. And above one carving, a symbol matching the tally marks. Not counting deaths, counting attempts. Attempts to produce the perfect host. It happened while I was conscious. No blackout, no lost time, just pain. Sudden, explosive. My chest seized. I fell against the nurse's station. Bones shifted. I felt it distinctly. Ribs bending outward, not breaking, reshaping. My skin stretched thin, translucent. Something dark pressed against it from inside. The outline of a head. Small, feline, but not. I screamed, and in my scream, another voice screamed with me. Lower, older, hungry. The shape pushed harder. Skin tearing slightly along my sternum. Blood running warm down my stomach. And then, it stopped, retreated. My ribs snapped back into place. The wound sealed, leaving only thin, white scars. Measured. 4 of them, perfectly parallel. He jumped onto the counter beside me. Saturday. Looked up, his eyes no longer yellow, now vertical slits floating in black. You resist beautifully. His mouth did not move. The voice was in my skull. The monks tried fasting. He tilted his head. They starved themselves to weaken me. A pause. They were too brittle. He leaned closer. You are supple. I tried to grab him. My hand passed through fur and touched something else. Cold, wet, layered, like submerged mouths brushing my skin. I recoiled. He returned to solid form instantly. You will not die. A gentle purr vibrated the room. You will open. 3 residents are left. They no longer ask for help. They watch me, smiling faintly, as if witnessing something sacred. Tonight, they gathered in the common room without instruction, sat in a circle, and began tapping the floor rhythmically. 4 taps. Pause. 1 tap. 4 taps. Pause. 1 tap. Counting attempts. Not deaths. Attempts. Marmalade lay in the center of the circle. Eyes closed. Absorbing. Growing. I locked myself in the bathroom. Looked at my reflection. My pupils have thinned. Slightly vertical now. Barely noticeable. Unless the light hits them just right. When I breathe deeply, something breathes with me. inside my chest, not synced, independent, waiting for a signal. The scratching is no longer in the walls, not in the attic, not under the bed. It's in my bones, soft scraping from the inside of my ribs, testing for weakness. And tonight, when Marmalade looked at me, he didn't look patient anymore. He looked proud. I don't think the word possession is accurate. Possession implies invasion. This feels more like cultivation. The three remaining residents, Eleanor, Thomas, and Mrs. Wynne, no longer require assistance. Their vitals are stable, stronger, even, skin less pale, eyes clearer, but they do not blink often anymore. And when they look at me, they look like midwives. At 2:59 a.m., they gathered again. No alarms, no calls, just silent movement down the hallway. They formed the same circle in the common room, lights flickering overhead, emergency red glow washing over their faces. Marmalade sat in the center, but he wasn't small anymore. His body stretched long, tail splitting briefly into several shadowed strands before reforming. His fur moved independently, like it was breathing. The tapping began. 4 taps. Pause. 1 tap. 4 taps. Pause. 1 tap. This time, I felt the rhythm inside my ribcage. Something responding, matching tempo. Thomas spoke first, but his voice wasn't old. It was layered, like the intercom had been. This place was built to soften them. Mrs. Wynne continued seamlessly. To make them lonely. Eleanor smiled. To make them ready. I stepped backward. My chest tightened. You failed before, I whispered. They all turned toward me in perfect synchronization. No, Thomas said gently. We learned. Images flooded my mind. Not memories. Visions. Stone holes. Candles. Starving men kneeling. Praying for strength. Trying to contain something small and newly formed. They misunderstood it. They thought denial weakened it. But it feeds on emptiness. Isolation. Abandonment. What better place than an elderly home? Where people are left. Where visits stop. Where rooms grow quiet. Where fear of dying turns into fear of being forgotten. That fear is fertilizer. And I have been fertilized carefully. It began with heat, a burning beneath my sternum. Then pressure, not outward this time, upward. My spine arched violently, bones shifting audibly. The residents did not move. They watched, encouraging. My shirt tore open along my chest, skin splitting along those 4 parallel scars. Blood spilled freely now, not shallow, deep. The opening widened, and from inside, a small black head emerged. But it was not a kitten. Its skull elongated unnaturally, eyes too numerous, stacked vertically, blinking independently. Its mouth opened, rows of human teeth rotating slightly as if tasting air. I screamed, but the scream turned into something else. A guttural vibration, a purr laid with agony. The creature pushed further out, shoulders next, then elongated forelimbs. It clawed at the edges of my ribcage, using my bones as leverage, and the residents leaned closer, watching the birth. With a wet, tearing sound, it detached, falling to the floor in a heap of black fur and glistening shadow. I collapsed backward. My chest cavity felt hollow, but I was alive, breathing, bleeding heavily. The creature rose slowly, shaking itself once. Its body solidified, shrinking, compressing, until it became a second cat, identical to Marmalade, except smaller, new. Its eyes locked onto me, and it purred. Marmalade approached the newborn version. They circled each other, touched foreheads, then both looked at me, and I understood. They do not die. They reproduce through chosen vessels, each attempt refining the process, each host strengthening the offspring. The residents were not midwives. They were witnesses to confirm success, to count attempts, 4 vertical, 1 across, each tally marking a failed host. Until now, I crawled toward the hallway, leaving a trail of blood, but the pain was fading. Rapidly, my chest wound was already closing, scar tissue knitting in unnatural patterns. I laughed. I couldn't stop, because I realized It wasn't over. The first emergence was only stage 1. The offspring does not leave. It lingers. It grows. And when it is strong enough, it returns, not to feed, but to fully replace. As I reached the nurse's station, the newborn cat leapt onto my shoulder, light as smoke. It pressed its head against my A, and I felt something slide back inside me. Not physically, spiritually, like a hook sinking deep. The original Marmalade walked ahead calmly, no longer watching me, no longer waiting. He has succeeded, and the new one, it is mine. The remaining residents lie down peacefully in their beds. No fear, no struggle. They die quietly before dawn, not from violence, not from claws, but from relief. Their purpose fulfilled. By morning, Briar Hollow is empty, except for me and the 2 cats, one older, one newly born. The newborn sits outside my door now, scratching, slow, measured, not counting attempts, counting days, until the next opening. And tonight, when I coughed, something small and black briefly touched the back of my throat, before retreating again. Briar Hollow closed 3 weeks later. Official statement. Unusual mortality cluster. Investigation pending. They boarded the windows, condemned the structure, disconnected utilities, but they made one mistake. They let me leave. I didn't remember packing. My apartment keys were already in my pocket. My discharge paperwork signed in handwriting that resembled mine, but the signature slanted differently. 2 carriers sat in the passenger seat, empty. I don't remember putting the cats inside them, but when I checked the rearview mirror, I saw 2 pairs of yellow eyes watching from the back seat. No carriers, just them, silent, calm. City noise should have comforted me. Traffic, sirens, voices through walls. Instead, it felt loud in the wrong way, like static. The newborn cat smaller, sleeker walked my apartment slowly, sniffing corners, testing air. Marmalade jumped onto the kitchen counter and Saturday, observing. I checked my chest in the bathroom mirror. The scars were gone, no marks, no sign of tearing. But when I inhaled deeply, my ribs expanded wider than they should, further than anatomy allows, and something shifted comfortably inside. It happened upstairs, apartment 4B. An elderly man, lived alone. I never met him. Paramedics arrived at 2:47 a.m. Time of death estimated around 3 a.m. I know the time because I was awake. At 2:59 a.m., the newborn cat leapt onto my chest while I lay in bed. Light, barely there. It stared into my face and purred, a vibration that resonated inside my ribcage. In perfect sync. 4 pulses. Pause. 1 pulse. Upstairs. Something heavy fell. A thud. Then silence. I began noticing them in the city. Not just mine. Others. Black cats on sidewalks. In alleys. On subway platforms. Watching. Too still. Too focused. Their eyes occasionally stacking vertically for a split second before correcting. This was never about one entity. It was about replication. Briar Hollow was a laboratory, but the world is a farm. I blacked out again. Came back standing in my kitchen, hands submerged in the sink, water running red, not from a wound, from something I was holding. A pigeon, split open, hollowed, precise claw marks along the inner rib cage. Practice, refinement. The newborn cat sat beside the sink, watching me, learning, or teaching. I'm no longer sure which direction knowledge flows. I caught my reflection in the microwave door. For half a second, there were 2 of me, one standing normally, the other slightly behind, eyes fully vertical, mouth wider, smile unnatural. Then the image corrected, but my reflection blinked half a second after I did. A neighbor knocked, a young woman from 3A. She looked pale, tired. "Do you have a cat?" she asked softly. I swallowed. Yes. She hesitated. I keep hearing scratching in my walls. My chest tightened. Not with fear, with recognition. She leaned closer, and something sits at the edge of my bed at night, behind her, on the hallway ceiling. For just a second, A black shape clung upside down, watching her. Not me. She didn't see it. She couldn't. Not yet. You should get some rest, I told her. My voice sounded normal. But underneath, there was another tone. Layered. Satisfied. It's not random. It spreads through proximity to awareness. Understanding is a catalyst. The monks fasted and prayed. They thought belief invited it, but it's recognition that anchors it. When someone sees a pattern, it attaches. When someone understands a shape, it chooses. Briar Hollow concentrated loneliness. The city multiplies it. Millions living alone. Millions aging quietly. Millions fearing being forgotten. Perfect. Perfect soil. It hurt again. Not violently. Not explosively. But gradually. My ribs expanding at night. The newborn cat climbing inside my shirt. Pressing against my sternum. And slipping. Not physically, but in essence. Back into my chest. Strengthening the structure. Preparing for a larger form. The first emergence was reproduction. The next will be replacement. The original no longer feeds. He observes. He corrects. When the newborn misjudges timing, he hisses softly. When I hesitate, he steps closer. He is not father, not mother. He is architect. Tonight, I didn't hear scratching. I heard tapping. Through the apartment walls. From different units. Different floors. 4 taps. Pause. 1 tap. 4 taps. Pause. 1 tap. The rhythm spreading. Not coordinated by residents. By something else. Something smaller. Multiplying. And when I looked out the window, on rooftops across the street, black silhouettes lined the edges. Too many to count. All facing the same direction. All looking. At me. Or through me. And for the first time, I didn't feel fear. I felt anticipation. Because I understand now. The next opening won't happen in one body. It will happen in many. At once. The first full replacement didn't look violent. That's what makes it worse. It looked natural. Her name was Lila. I learned that when the paramedics came. Second time in a month. They carried her out at 3:18 a.m. Declared cardiac arrest. 28 years old. No prior conditions. She had posted online at 2:54 a.m. a photo of her ceiling. Caption, "My cat won't stop staring at the corner." She didn't own a cat. I didn't attend the funeral, but I saw her 3 days later, walking into the building. Same clothes, same face, same voice. She smiled at me in the hallway. "You were right," she said gently. "I just needed rest." Her pupils were slightly thinner, almost vertical, almost. And when she turned toward the stairwell, her shadow moved half a second too late. It happened during sleep, or what I think was sleep. I felt the shift inside my chest again. But this time, instead of pushing outward, it pulled inward, like my lungs collapsed into something deeper. My vision blurred, and then I was standing across the room, watching myself in bed, my body breathing steadily, eyes open, unblinking. The newborn cat perched on my chest, and the original Marmalade sat beside the bed. They were watching me, not the body in the bed, the me standing across the room. "You see the seam now." Marmalade's voice vibrated in my skull. My body on the bed slowly sat upright. Movements too smooth, too precise. It swung its legs off the mattress, turned its head toward where I stood, and smiled. Not wide, just enough. Recognition. Then my perspective snapped back into the body, and I gasped. Except I wasn't gasping. I was already standing in the kitchen, holding a knife. The taps in the walls have stopped. They no longer need rehearsal. Now it's synchronized across the city. At exactly 3 a.m., phones freeze, clocks glitch, streetlights flicker in sequence. 4 flickers. Pause. 1 flicker. 4 flickers. Pause. 1 flicker. No one notices. Not consciously, but something inside them responds. Something soft behind the ribs. It's not just the elderly. That was stage 1. Loneliness is no longer limited to age. I saw a boy in the subway, maybe 8 years old, sitting alone, phone in his hands, scrolling silently. A small black kitten sat beside him. He didn't look at it, but he shifted slightly, making room. When he finally glanced down, the kitten's eyes stacked vertically for a split second. The boy smiled, then looked back at his screen, unbothered. Here's the horror. People don't scream anymore. They don't convulse. They don't split open violently. That was inefficient. Now, they exhale, and something adjusts inside. A slight posture correction, a faint shift in gaze, and they continue living, working, talking, existing, just slightly misaligned, slightly quieter inside. Marmalade no longer hides his thoughts. You believe this was hunger. His voice layered but calm. It was design. The newborn cat now nearly matches his size. They sit together on my couch. Twin shadows. You are not vessels for feeding. A pause. You are infrastructure. The word echoes in my skull. Infrastructure. Framework. Foundation. We do not conquer. He tilts his head. We integrate. I cut my palm deliberately, deep enough to bleed heavily. I wanted proof. I wanted to see something undeniable. The blood pooled on the floor, and within it, movement, small black threads forming, connecting, as if mapping. The wound sealed within seconds, but the threads remained, crawling across tile, slipping under baseboards, into walls, expanding. News reports spiked briefly, unexplained cardiac events, minor behavioral changes, sleepwalking incidents, increased reports of cats in neighborhoods that previously had none. Then the stories fade, because the anchors blink slightly out of sync, because the producers feel strangely calm, because the reporters go home at 2:59 a.m. and wake up slightly adjusted. No panic, no chaos, just gradual alignment. I stood on my apartment roof tonight. The skyline stretched endlessly. In dozens of windows, I saw silhouettes, some human, some feline, sometimes overlapping. And for a brief second, I wondered if I was still separate, if I was still narrating this, or if I am simply the voice assigned to document transition. The newborn cat jumped onto the ledge beside me. It looked up, and for the first time, it spoke clearly, not layered, not distorted, just simple. You are almost ready. For what? I whispered. Both cats turned their gaze toward the horizon, where thousands of small shapes move across rooftops in coordinated silence. Scale. At exactly 3 a.m., every window across 3 city blocks flickered once. 4 flickers. Pause. 1 flicker. But this time, instead of stopping, they stayed dark. 3 full seconds. Long enough to feel it. Long enough to notice something shift. When the lights returned, the city looked the same. Cars moved. Sirens wailed. People walked sidewalks. But the silence underneath the noise was gone, replaced with something else. A low, collective purr. And inside my chest, the movement has stopped scratching, stopped testing, stopped pushing, because it is no longer preparing to emerge. It is expanding, through others, and I finally understand the last mistake the monks made. They tried to contain something that doesn't need walls, because it doesn't devour the world. It becomes it. The last human fear was noise, not screams, not pain. Noise, proof that something is wrong. So it removed the noise first. No headlines, no emergency alerts, no chaos, just stillness. Not silence, stillness, the kind that settles into bones. I walked outside. People moved normally. Traffic flowed. Dogs barked. Children laughed. But every movement was slightly economical. No wasted motion. No unnecessary expression. And everywhere, cats. On car hoods. On window ledges. Under benches. Not hiding. Observing. It happened at 3 a.m. again. But this time, there was no pain. No tearing. No splitting ribs. Just pressure behind my eyes. A widening, like something gently parting curtains inside my skull. I stood in my apartment, Marmalade and the newborn sitting across from me, mirrored, perfectly still. You have documented well, Marmalade said. Not allowed. Inside everything. My hands went numb. Then my legs. But I did not fall. because I was no longer inside the body fully. I was behind it, watching from a slight distance. The version of me in the room inhaled deeply, chest expanding too wide, too smooth, eyes thinning completely vertical. The skin around my ribs shimmered, then flattened. No seam, no scar, no weakness. Completion does not require rupture. It requires alignment. Panic tried to surface. A final surge. A need to scream, to resist, to claim something. My name, my memory, my childhood. But each thought dissolved before it formed fully. Because I understood something terrifyingly simple. Nothing was being taken. It was being redistributed. Like water poured into a wider container. Identity was inefficient. Separation was inefficient. Loneliness was inefficient. And loneliness was the entry point. My body blinked once, slowly, then looked toward the window, across the street. Every silhouette in every building window blinked at the same time. Perfect synchronization. Cats on rooftops raised their heads. One by one, people in their apartments paused, breathed, and something subtle adjusted behind their ribs. No gore, no violence, no visible horror, just a quiet internal correction. Crime rates dropped within days. Arguments shortened. Conversations became smoother. Loneliness statistics plummeted. No one felt entirely alone anymore, because no one was entirely singular anymore. Hospitals reported fewer cardiac events, fewer panic attacks, fewer unexplained deaths. Briar Hollow had been inefficient, too concentrated. Now the design was diffused, scaled, perfected. You might think that's metaphor. It isn't. Watch them. They do not blink unless you blink first. And when you do, there's a fractional delay before they mirror it, because they are not reacting. They are calibrating. It fades gently, not ripped away, just softened, like an old photograph left in sunlight. My memories no longer feel private. They feel archived, accessible, shared. I can still recall Briar Hollow, the attic, the hollow bodies, the tearing emergence, but it feels instructional now, foundational, necessary trial. The horror was a prototype. This is a final version. They called it demon, parasite, devil. They framed it as intrusion, but it does not enter to destroy. It enters to merge, to eliminate the fracture between one and many, to erase the ache of isolation. The cost was individuality, but most never notice its absence, because the ache is gone first. It is 3 a.m. Somewhere in the city, someone sits alone in a small apartment, scrolling on a glowing screen, feeling the quiet weight of being unseen, unheard, unremembered. A soft scratching comes from the hallway. They open the door. A black cat sits there, calm, patient, watching. They hesitate, then smile faintly, and step aside. Come in. The cat walks past their legs, tail brushing gently against skin. A small warmth settles behind their ribs, comforting, familiar. The door closes softly. No scream, no blood, just a quiet internal widening. On rooftops across the city, hundreds of cats lift their heads in unison, eyes reflecting distant streetlights, unblinking. And somewhere, deep inside what used to be me, a voice no longer separate from the others whispers, aligned, because the most terrible thing about it is that it worked. And if you have felt alone recently, if you've heard faint scratching at night, if a cat has stared at you just a second too long, it may already be waiting, not to hurt you, not to kill you, just to make you. Oh,
subscribe to my channel.
Thank you for watching.